On today's That Park Place Daily Countdown, a Disney challenger comes back twice as strong as before. Hollywood Studios does a surprise update to a day one attraction. A fan favorite Star Wars games is in danger of disappearing forever. And Loki arrives at Disney's California Adventure. All that and more on That Park Place. It's Tuesday, Junior. Welcome to That Park Place. I'm Jonas J. Campbell from, you guessed it, That Park Place, as well as Vash Sky. Vash, you're from That Park Place, but you're also from somewhere else. Where is it?
Theme Park Universe, where I go into deep conversation with my co-host there, Theme Park Wizard, and we just break down these things a little bit more analytically and a little bit more long form. So if you guys are interested in that, please give it a follow.
Well, I am, of course, going to go check out what my co-host-in-law has to say about theme parks. But for now, let's go to our collaborators for news in entertainment, theme parks, streaming, and video games. I'm hoping we got some video game news today. So stay tuned for all the news that should be fun.
Number 1.
Jonas Campbell here with the first story from That Park Place. Looks like Nelson Peltz is back. Nelson Peltz, who engaged in an activist investor proxy fight against the Walt Disney Company board, has returned. This time he's back with $2.5 billion in shares. That makes him one of the largest shareholders at the Walt Disney Company currently. Anyways, this story out of the Wall Street Journal by Lauren Thomas and Robbie Whalum. I'm sure they'll appreciate the shout out from us over here at That Park Place. Nelson Peltz is planning a fresh push for board seats at Disney following a relentless slide in the entertainment giant shares. Nelson Peltz runs Trian Fund Management, or Trian. I've never gotten a great answer on how that's pronounced. Anyways, Peltz last year launched a run for a seat on Disney's board after the company privately rebuffed his request to become a director. You can follow that drama on the Valiant Renegade channel or on That Park Place. This is not financial advice, but those of us who follow the stock price noticed that it went from, I don't know, around $80, $90 a share to closer to $120 a share before Peltz backed out. All of those gains have been lost. I think Peltz even cashed out at that high end and then bought them back again, getting all of that value that he gained and then sold out. He just used that towards buying more shares. He seems to know what he's up to. So the question is this a good thing for the Walt Disney Company? Is this something that even if Nelson Peltz doesn't get his board seats, that it might shake up the Disney board enough that they're willing to let someone in there that isn't necessarily hand-chosen by Bob Iger? The previous statements by the Walt Disney Company said that Nelson Peltz should not be on the board because he has no entertainment experience. Looking at most members of the board, Bob Iger is the only member of the board with actual entertainment experience, and there's one person with technology experience. Nelson Peltz is known for coming in and shaking things up and fixing companies. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops. Of course, stay tuned here to That Park Place, Valiant Renegade, WDW Pro, and of course, www.thatparkplace.com for more on this developing story.
Number 2.
Hello, this is Lorena Creole of the Lorena Creole YouTube channel, keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. And speaking of keeping it real, there's a new visual effect that debuted at Muppet Vision 3D at Walt Disney World, and I could not be more pleased about it. Coming to us from www.magic.com, Muppet Vision 3D at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World has a brand new in-theater projection effect. The Waldo bursting scene now includes projection mapped images extending beyond the screen and along both sides of the theater. WDW Magic forum user Sonoma15 has a video of the new Muppet Vision 3D projection effect in action. As you can see, there's all these little Waldos that are projected on the walls of the theater. It just adds such a great dimension to hilarious scene during this attraction. Muppet Vision 3D has been enjoying some renewed maintenance efforts recently with new carpeting and seating installed and the return of the fog blast at the end of the screen that was missing for years. As a Muppets fan and definitely a fan of this attraction for decades, I'm so glad that these changes are being made, especially with the new carpeting. The seating's has seen better days, so I'm very glad to hear about this. And that fog blast, I had almost forgotten about that fog blast, which tells me it's been gone for way too long. So I'm glad that it is back. So with hearing about these new updates to Muppet Vision 3D, are you looking forward to checking these out yourself? Let us know in the comments.
Number 3.
Hello, this is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic remake, and that Sony is actually deleting social media posts about the game, as well as privating a number of trailers. Sony claims they removed Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake promotional material due to licensed music. Fans believe it's evidence that the game is in trouble. So, X-Count Daily Star Wars Games reported earlier this week that Sony and PlayStation have privated the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake trailer, as well as deleting numerous tweets about the game. One can see below that the trailer is indeed privated. I can confirm to you that that is indeed the original trailer. That's from our previous coverage of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. In response to this report, a Sony spokesman told Kotaku, as part of normal business, we delist assets with licensed music when the license expires. However, this explanation, I don't think, holds water, given the PlayStation Spain YouTube account still has the trailer publicly listed on YouTube. You can see it's still right there. It's possible there's a different license agreement for Spain than other countries, but Sony spokesman makes no comment about that. And if you take his comment at face value, the existence of the Spanish trailer does indeed refute the claim. This game has kind of been quite troubled for quite a bit. There have been a number of red flags. You've had people like Sam Maggs joining it, who's an extreme radical activist, always inserting her agenda into the games that she works on. You've had the actual producers, Asper Media, saying that it is going to be a complete remake. It's not actually going to be a remaster, which I think is what a lot of fans wanted. And then you had it basically go into kind of production hell with it, with Saber Interactive coming on to work with them. And then Embracer Group kind of announced that they had moved a AAA game to a different studio. There was a report from Bloomberg claiming that Asper Media was no longer working on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, and it had moved to Saber Interactive. And then you had just this past May, Embracer Group CEO Lars Wingefors, who Embracer Group is the parent company to Saber Interactive and Asper Media. He was asked about the Star Wars the Old Republic remake, and his answer was no comment. So I don't think things are going well for the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. And this idea that they are like just privating these trailers because of licensing music just seems absolutely like bizarre, wild, unbelievable. There has to be a different explanation for this. But that is what's happening with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Number 4.
I'm John from Cine Park Rangers, where we talk all things theme parks and movies. Here today for That Park Place with an interesting story about an underdog film that needs your support. The Creator is a film written and directed by Gareth Edwards about a war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence. The Creator opened on September 29th with a opening weekend box office of $32 million against a budget of $80 million. This with a 68% critical and 77% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes tells viewers the film may be decent, but is it worth spending your money on? Between the cinematography and the VFX, this is a dazzling film to look at. All of that coupled with an intriguing story by Edwards and compounded with incredible acting from John David Washington and Madeline Una Voiles sets this film apart from anything else that's in the box office currently. Will this film end up being successful? Well, currently in the month of October, it's up against franchise juggernauts in The Exorcist Believer and Saw X, which doesn't necessarily bode well for the creator. In a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Edwards stated that his crew had to think of the film as the most expensive guerrilla indie film to make it happen. This movie is just at the start of its box office journey, but again, I have to ask you, the viewer, will this film be successful? Ultimately, that's up to you, but only time will tell.
Number 5.
Yes, that's right, Tommy Tables here, and you might be aware that I'm a huge Transformers fan. Now, 2 years ago, a company by the name of RoboSen partnered up with Hasbro to create the world's first ever auto-transforming Transformer. Yes, it was a Transformer that transformed itself. And how many times can I say the word Transformers? I don't know. This nifty gadget was a collectible item. I dare say it's not a toy, but it could convert from robot mode to truck mode. It could drive forwards and backwards, left and right at your voice command, shoot its gun, go through a whole bunch of pre-planned action sequences. And it featured a bunch of new voice clips recorded by Peter Cullen, who is the original G1 Optimus voice. Apparently it sold well enough that RoboSen decided that they were going to do a follow-up. The character they chose might surprise you. Grimlock. So this is the latest in the RoboSen line of auto-transforming figures. Just like the Optimus Prime, it responds to voice commands. It transforms from robot to dino and back again, and it can shuffle around in both modes, move its jaw, I guess shoot its gun, dance, whatever you want to do with it. This thing will set you back quite a bit of money. It's $1,699. You know, full disclosure, I had originally purchased one of the RoboSen Optimus Primes. I really enjoyed it at first. However, after a while, I found that I kind of got a bit bored with it. Maybe I'm just traditional and I prefer transforming robots the old-fashioned way by hand. All that to be said, this looks awesome. It looks like it stepped right out of the TV screen, and I'm sure that it will be a centerpiece for any Transformers collector. Is this something that you would want to buy? Is this something you'd want to spend close to $2,000 on? Let us know your thoughts down below, and if you do end up buying it, please send us some photos or videos of how you like it. I am very, very curious to see.
Number 6.
Hello there, Vash Sky here with our next story, this time from Walt Disney World News Today. Photos Video meet Loki and Obie in Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure. Loki and Obie from Loki's Season 2 on Disney Plus have begun meeting in Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure, and we were there to say hi on their first day. And so you can see here, these characters are prominently featured here, which, to be honest, I'm actually quite glad. It's nice to have some character integration, some kind of synergy with these characters from these shows into these themed lands and experiences Disney offers at their parks. We've been wanting a little bit more of that from Star Wars, and luckily we did actually get that with Ahsoka, but here we can see Marvel doing Marvel things as they've been doing since Avengers Campus has opened. It's interesting because these face characters, from what I understand, are actually funded by the marketing departments for these shows, which is a nice bit of synergy between the two entities. As Marvel seems to understand, this cross-pollination is actually good for the profile of these shows. It's an interesting story, not quite the fantastical outfits that we've seen from them in the past, something like Moon Knight or something. A decent effort nonetheless, and Loki always makes everybody go wild wherever he is. Will you be visiting these characters in Avengers Campus? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, that was an interesting news day here on That Park Place. If you want to follow us on any of the socials above, you can do that, or you might want to check out this this fellow next to me. His name is Wilton.
Hi.
Even though his name says he's floral.
Ah,
So what do you think about the new updates to the Muppets? Wilton?
explosive. It's kind of missing a few bits of explosive bits. I mean, I was kind of hoping it'd be a little bit more interactive, but yeah, I mean, you got to work with what you got to work with.
I have a feeling that the way you talk about things being interactive with explosions, I think you're imagining something a little bit more bloody than what Disney World has.
Well, it doesn't
in
have to be
mind.
bloody. I mean, like, if it's hot enough, it just becomes charcoal. So,
That's a very good point.
and also, I mean, they're like the atom bombs. We know
And they
how
do
those
have
go.
the smell of Rome burning is famous from the parks. Maybe they could incorporate that into Muppet Vision 3D. Either way, if you guys like these videos, consider liking these videos. There's meta for you. Or if you've watched a few of them, maybe you should subscribe. But of course, the
Maybe.
ultimate compliment here is to share
To
it out. on
subscribe to
social
Floral
media.
from Under a Rock. That's the ultimate compliment.
Yep, and stay tuned to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com for all the news that should be fun. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.